Try that again. That mic is on now. Can everybody hear us? Can you, can somebody just give me a mic check and a video check? Make sure we're on. Can you check on your phone? Make sure that you can
It
hear.
will do
Let's just do it quickly. Just check.
quickly.
He said, Bamsa said yes. Okay, so
Okay.
I just uh, I just go ahead and start with the news. Is that uh, I'm sure some of you are following what's going on domestically. Thank you, Agnes, for the mic check. I'm sure some of you follow what's going on domestically here, and there's some really good news. Both Cebu, the Cebu Island, and Bohol, the Bohol Island, are now not requiring quarantine for people to come from domestically. So, for example, if I wanted to go to Bohol, I would just need a PCR test, or if I wanted to go to Cebu, I would just need a PCR test. I no longer need to quarantine, so that's great for going for traveling. Now, the problem is that Negros hasn't implemented that yet, but I'm very hopeful that that will follow because typically here in the Philippines, one does something and the rest follow. So they're kind of in competition with each other almost for tourism as well. So I think Negros will follow, and I think more and more islands will follow. So I think this is the beginning um, of the end, for lack of better terminology, for the quarantining for domestic travel, unless something goes wrong with new strains and hospitals get full and so on. Of course, there's always exceptions to the rules. So really excited about that. There's a few articles here, and let's see, how do I share? Let's see, share screen, right? I'll show this again. Share screen.
No, baby.
Share. So are they seeing this now? Yep.
Yeah.
So here it says Bohol scraps quarantine procedures for arriving tourists, and down here they talk about. Let's just make this bigger. Uh, the province of Bohol has eased up on some of its protocols meant to contain the spread of COVID-19 and blah, blah, blah. So for tourists are not required to quarantine for 5 to 14 days upon arrival. So only a negative RT-PCR test is required within 72 hours of travel to Bohol. And basically the same with Cebu. There's a here's another article talking about that. So you can Google that and you'll find articles talking about that. So that's really good news for us because, you know, we have been wanting to travel for a while. And so travel might happen very soon. So that's the first good news. And then I am going to let Mia talk about her
No.
good news. She's a bit
No,
shy. No, no,
baby.
no. Go ahead. You're gonna be a vlogger, so you need to talk. Tell them what's the good news.
It's not a good news.
Come on,
I'm scared.
come on, baby. Talk.
Uh, I started my YouTube channel yesterday night, right?
Yeah,
Yesterday night, and
you have one video,
I did. I uploaded one video already. Of course, there's not a lot of views. I don't have.
a lot of content yet. Yeah,
Yep.
you have one video, and what's the name of the channel?
It's called Filipina Life with Mia.
Filipina Life with Mia. So on her first video, she talks about. Well, you guys will have to go there and subscribe. I put a link in the chat so you can subscribe.
I'm
So
shy.
so you guys can see her there. She's doing great, and she's. Um, I'm helping her with her scripts, but she's getting better at writing her own scripts. So we'll go ahead and start reading the comments here.
You cannot
Uh,
stop the screen.
yeah, go back to this one or this one. Yeah. And if anybody wants to call in and talk about what we're talking about now, is you're more than welcome. Or if you have something in general to say about the Philippines and the tourism opening up, or you have some information, you're more than welcome to call in.
Up,
uh,
up, up.
so let's start at the top here. Scott says, let's hope they keep international travel out for a while longer as the country is starting to get control of the outbreaks. Don't need outsiders bringing new strains or variants. True. And I don't think international travel will open till probably the third or fourth quarter of this year, because at that point, many um, countries will have a very high percentage of their population vaccinated. So at that point, I think tourism will start coming from those particular countries. And maybe, like I said in another video, that they'll probably have some type of you'll have to have some type of proof that you've had the vaccine. Even though I haven't seen anything about that, I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. A tighter Scott says a tighter restriction for those from China has been implemented, as China has been inserting spies around the world to take up residency and send that data back to China. Yeah, not just spies, but they've been sending the virus around the world too, right? Those damn Chinese. Joke. I'm just joking.
Half meant, right?
Yeah, but they ruined the year for me. Scott says higher risk for countries who share the South China Sea. Yeah,
We have the South China Sea.
and that's me responding. And I put that's the link to Mia's channel there.
Hmm?
If that works, I'm not sure. Or is that the? Yeah, that's the link to Mia's channel.
That's
Uh,
you.
and I'm saying if you have something, join. And then back to Scott here. Sorry, the balancing act: what to allow in and not in. Wait, the balancing act of what to allow in and not, as the country relies a lot on tourism for its overall survival. Thus, we can be happy that the provinces also put different restrictions on travel. Yeah, I mean, of course, Philippines has to think about the Philippines first, and they have to have control over the virus, and then maybe slowly let tourism in. I don't know how they're going to approach that, but the differences between different provinces and different rules is actually a problem here. It's creating a bit of havoc. So I wish the rules were more uniform. I understand that some cities, like Cebu cities, when they have an outbreak, have to have their own and implement their own rules and say, uh, you can't come in here because of the outbreak. But yeah,
Up. This one more.
no, I've already answered that. I don't think there's any intelligence in the Philippines to steal. Not sure what you mean by that, Eminem. Uh, yeah, somebody had said the news would be marriage or baby, and I said no to both. So Eminem said both my predictions wrong. Then okay. So that was the big news. Was Mia starting her own channel,
It's not
and
really a big news. They knew.
it is a big news.
No, they already know about
No,
it.
but it's big news, and also that the Philippines has started opening up. So we'll continue from there. MMM, it's only defense movement, not intel. Okay.
Go down. There.
Scott says, example, movement of government and monitoring of some tourists that link to the USA and other NATO countries. Okay. I don't know how that would happen, but maybe once they get the QR code thing and all that stuff going, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. There hasn't been any announcement on that yet. Mark from Michigan, what's the news? You getting married? No, man. If you watch my videos, you know I'm anti-marriage. I don't believe in marriage, so I don't think I'd ever get married unless, and this is a big if, and I think I've decided not to. I was for a while leaning towards moving back to the West and working a few more years, but I'm kind of leaning away from that now. So I'm probably going to go ahead and stay and only work part time Maybe go back a few months every year and work some type of part-time work just to get that out of my system because I feel like I need to work, or maybe do something here. I'm not quite sure yet, but yeah, I'm probably not moving back to the West anytime soon. Uh, Mark Richard says the numbers are dropping by a third with a new vaccine, which is huge. Yeah, so there's two things that favor uh, things opening up. One is that more and more people have had the COVID virus and survived it, so I would think they would be immune, somewhat immune to, even though they can get a different strain, but at least they're somewhat immunized against that. And then the vaccine. So every day that goes by, more and more people are getting vaccinated, and so the virus will eventually come minimized. But I still think there'll be new mutations every year, and we're probably going to have a vaccine every year, just like the flu vaccine. Research about damage to the brain blood barrier from the test. Not sure what you mean by that, Bamse. Are you talking about the vaccine, or are you talking about the virus? I saw some statistics yesterday where out of 77,000 vaccinated people, was it 77,000 or was it 7.7 million? I can't remember, but the number was very high. Only 100 people had like a negative reaction, no deaths. So that was pretty good news. Numbers in Cebu have increased a lot recently, says Eminem. Yeah, I've seen that. And I don't know what the capacity in the hospitals are. I've seen a lot where the amount of virus has increased, but I haven't seen the hospitalization numbers. I haven't seen any links to that. Congrats on the new channel, Mia.
Thank you.
Scott puts a thumbs up. Uh, Eminem has subscribed to Mia. Yeah, she's gonna try to put. How many videos are you gonna try to put out a week? And are you gonna do any live casts, or what's your plan?
Maybe I'm gonna try to put up like 3 videos a week. Just to.
3 videos? That's a lot. That's very. You think you're gonna manage that?
I think so.
I think she's being overly ambitious.
No, I
Yeah,
just.
you used 2 weeks on one
You're
video.
my,
Now you're gonna put 3 videos a week.
you're my brain.
I think
No,
that's overly ambitious.
there's nothing wrong in
Being ambitious, no, but being ambitious without being realistic, that's not good either. I think 2 videos a week she's gonna try to put out, and
maybe
maybe
2 or 3.
maybe maybe some live cast too. Uh, Good morning from China, Barry Thornton. Good morning, Barry. Scott Andrew, Naval Base Subic Bay. Okay. Congratulations on your channel, Mia. Good for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
She's going to actually do the interview rounds either this week, and she's going to interview with Ricky.
Really?
Yes, really. Gio in the Philippines, and
I
Paul
didn't know
Old
that.
Dog Nutrix. So I don't know if it'll be this week or next week, but
I didn't know that.
Mia is a bit shy when it comes to live stuff, but she'll have to get over it, right? We all do in the end. Everybody's a bit nervous when they start something new, and she's a bit nervous. So
Not just a bit.
not just a bit. When you start traveling, are you going to tour on the bike or use public transportation? If I can, I would love to take the motorbike with me. That's the way really to tour. So that's my plan. I've even considered upgrading my motorbike, which, well, it's not really an upgrade, but changing to a different motorbike. I have a Ninja 650, as you guys probably know, and I would like to do more of a touring bike like the Versus, either 300 or 650. I think the 300 is a bit small, but the 650 is a bit big, to be honest. And I'd like to find something maybe around 400, 500 cc's. So not sure yet, but I'll probably start with the Ninja and see how that goes, the comfort level, and how I feel about driving that for many hours a day, and then go from there. So also with a touring bike, it's easier to take stuff with you than it is on a Ninja. So wondering, Doc, can I travel to the Philippines from Korea? As of now, no. They have some exceptions like business and what do you call that? If you're married to a Filipina or if you have a child
Student
here and
here.
student, they have some exceptions, and you can go to the Filipino embassy website and look at those exceptions. But as for now, the general people know. I think it'll be, like I said, third or fourth quarter of this year. On my way back to the US in August, says Wandering Doc. Okay, yeah, I might be there with you actually. I'm thinking of doing some stuff in the US this year, or either that or going to Norway this year. But again, it depends on a lot of stuff. So I'd like to have a job for a few months in the West before coming back here, just to work. Being on vacation all the time is nice, but it can get somewhat boring at times. That's the nice thing with YouTube, right? Hello, Paul and Mia, says Stacy. Good morning, Stacy. Uh, so, Mia, what type of videos are you planning?
Oh, I'm planning to do like informative videos, that helpful to the subscriber, because I just don't want to base it on, of course, my beauty and what you can see. um
You want content?
I want content.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I don't want to do anything with my physical appearance or something like that. I want to be helpful to the subscribers.
Yeah.
And in that case, it can be a big help to them. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
She's a bit nervous. But yeah, she's planning to try to create good content. I'm helping her with the content at the start, but more and more is going to be her. So what I do now is actually I write her a script and I said, "Here you go. Change it to your own words," and she changes it to what she wants. Even though the last script you really didn't change it. You
I
said you
did. I
no, you
did.
still.
I
You
did.
said you changed
I
it,
did.
and I'm like looking at it.
Stop
Okay,
it.
you put some commas and full stops. I'm like, you're supposed to change it to your own
I
words.
did.
So
Hey, I did. You said, yeah, you did a good job. That's what you said.
yeah, I did say that.
No, you did. When we're at Bo's Coffee, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
really?
Yeah. I'm just
You
teasing. I'm
too.
just teasing her. But yeah, in the beginning it's hard because it's not her first language, and she hasn't done this before, and so she has to do a lot of research. I think once she's done some live casts and done some videos, the nervousness goes away because I think it's the same with all of us, right? I remember when I uh, first became an engineer and I had to do presentations, I was so nervous. I was like sweating, my knees were shaking, my hands were sweating. And then after a while, doing them for a while, it just became like, I don't know, it's like talking and no one's there. It's just like you feel a comfort level. And I think that would be the same with her. I think that's the same with any type of job we do, really. We're kind of nervous in the beginning, right? Uh, Mia, I think a good video would be about a barangay captain, maybe in an interview. Are they elected, appointed, paid? What authority do they have? Oh, yeah, that's a really good idea.
I could ask, because I know the barangay captain.
Here, baby. You lean forward and look at the mic. Don't look at me.
Okay. Maybe that's a good suggestion, because
Do you know any barangay captains?
in my barangay, my father knew about.
Knows.
Uh, yeah, he knows about our barangay captain. I mean, their friend. So maybe I could ask my father to ask her, because it's a woman.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Maybe she's up for an interview, right?
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I could ask her.
And then
She's
you can do it in Visayan if she feels more
she's she's an English, because she's a teacher also.
She's an English teacher,
She's a no overall teacher. Like a kids
like a
teacher.
headmaster type of deal or something.
No, like a kids teacher. Like
Okay, yeah.
very first
But
kids.
does she
But
do?
she speaks English well.
Okay.
So
But I mean, if she doesn't feel comfortable, you can always do it in Visayan and then do subtitles or something, you know.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, that's a really good idea, Win. I like that idea, and maybe do interviews with lawyers and like how things work here, you know. Because even I don't quite understand the LGUs and all that stuff, how all that works here. It'd be good for people moving here to understand how the system works here in more detail. You know,
okay,
who makes the decisions, who they have to go to if they complain about something, or you know what I mean.
yeah.
So that's a really good idea. Thank you for that, Win.
Thank you.
Uh, IO Tech 67 Paul, if you can retire now, retire immediately. Life is too short to keep selling your time to someone else. Yes, I agree with you, but if you hate working, that's a good concept. But I actually enjoy working. I get a lot out of it. It's not just the money. I love the money. Don't get me wrong. I like making money. There's nothing wrong in that. I'm a capitalist, right? So, but I like working. I do. I really do like working, and I've been retired for since November 2018, so more than 2 years now, and I've enjoyed it. Well, I haven't been semi-retired. I've done some work for the 6 first months and done YouTube and done some other things. So, but I enjoy working. I don't think I'll ever retire fully, to be honest. Just there's not that much to do when you're retired. So I like working, and I plan to continue either YouTube. I want to grow my channel. I want to do some other stuff. So yeah, I don't want to just retire completely. We're all different. Some people enjoy that. I don't. I like a semi-retirement. Wandering Dog says study pandemics in the last 4,000 years. They typically always last 1 to 3 years, so we cannot attribute anything to a vaccine. Yes, true, but you also have to think about the progress of the medical worlds. You know, DNA sequencing and all that progress we've had is amazing. Uh, so I don't think we can compare today to what happened, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 300 years ago. I think we're in a completely different situation today because of technology. Hi, Paul and Mia. Greetings from California, says Carl. Hello, Carl.
Hello.
Welcome to the livecast. Stacy says, Paul, looks as if you got a military style haircut. Haha. I had one of those. Had one for over 20 years in the U.S. Army. I like this. I like this style. I really do. Mia likes it too, so it's for her. Let's see. Do you want to read some, babe?
Mm.
Come on, read.
Dave says, hello, Paul and Mia from Boston. On the virus numbers, it would be extremely important to look at excess mortality. Yes, virus is real, but as we also suspect, numbers are hyperinflated by a lot.
Yeah, that's a discussion on its own. The way I compare it to, people have said to me, people don't die of COVID necessarily. People die with COVID, but then somebody made a good argument that I think is a really good argument is when you think about HIV, AIDS, people don't usually die directly of AIDS. They die with AIDS. It's just that AIDS weakens the system dramatically. So you die of just some type of sickness, maybe cancer that you otherwise would have survived, or maybe some a flu that you would have survived, and so on. So COVID in general makes you much weaker, hard to breathe, and so on. If you're in that category that is not asymptomatic and get serious complications. But then again, there are things you can do to lessen the chance, like I talked about in one of my live casts, and there's documentation for it out there, like vitamin D, for example. staying healthy, eating healthy. I look at the US and I see the people dying are mostly, not all, but mostly older people, and that's tragic in itself. It's not something to just to be blown off, and people in very bad shape. So I think you can't avoid being older, obviously, but you can avoid being in bad shape. You can avoid eating unhealthy. So that's what I have to say about that. I don't know if the numbers are hyperinflated or not. I haven't seen any documentation for that. I've heard people say it, but I haven't seen documentation for it. MM says, "You two look so cute together." Thank you.
Thank you.
Without her, I wouldn't look cute now, would I? Benjamin says, "Hi guys, greeting from Scotland." Hey Benjamin, good morning to you. I guess in Scotland it's wow, you're up like 1 or 2 in the morning. So really good morning to you, or good night soon, I guess maybe. Uh, Scott says, "Ninja, you will be flying by others on the road again, having Mia digging her fingernails in your side while riding." Oh yeah, yeah.
Huh?
No, I'll try to, the Ninja 650. No, she likes it when I give a bit of acceleration. You hear the scream, and that's a scream of joy, not a scream of.
Stop it.
So, but I do drive. I can drive fast, but I slow down. I just accelerate fast and then I slow down. But I always make sure that the road is clear and only in places where I can see far. So, touch wood, I haven't been in accidents in the Philippines, almost once, but that wasn't my fault. But it still wouldn't have helped. I would have been dead. That's the thing of driving a bike. Um, Barry says, "Thanks, I'll check out." Okay, that's to someone else. They're talking to each other there. Wandering Dog says, "I've been working for 2 years in Korea. It has been a blast before April. I travels international at least monthly for a mini trip." Oh, okay. Before the pandemic started. Nice. What do you do in Korea, Wandering Dog? Your turn to read.
Scott says, "Let me guess, when you found Mia didn't change the script, you also found her playing games on the phone."
What? No, 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 no. You answer that.
Uh, I only have one game on my phone.
The word game?
Yeah, and like police thing, like you're looking for something,
Like a detective?
like a detective. That's my game.
We've been watching Sherlock Holmes and she's fascinated by it. So
I'm
she's
always fascinated by Sherlock
yeah,
Holmes.
she's actually, not to boast about her, but she's a lot on her phone and a tablet, but it's more like she's reading a book, not surfing. I don't know if that's because of me or that's because of her. She knows I don't like
No,
Actually, I've become a bit of a
I
time. I watch too much YouTube videos. I really do. But it's always
like
good YouTube videos, right? It's not chica chica. It's like improvements
yeah. That's what
and
you
red
liked.
pilling and all that kind of stuff. Psychology and all that. So, Ovid Roberts says hello from Missouri. Good morning to
Sorry.
good evening to Roberts. Retiring there soon. Okay. Hopefully this year then, Roberts, Ovid Roberts. Scott says money, cars, and objects can be replaced. What can't be replaced is your time. Don't let other people waste it. Absolutely agree. One of the most important things is to find friends that are similar to you and not time wasters. There is a lot of time wasting in the Philippines, and it can be
Yeah, there is.
aggravating at times. Like you have an appointment, let's say at 1. Like the other time, I had an appointment doctor at, what was it, 8 or 8:30?
Eight.
Was it 8? I think eight
Yeah,
thirty.
eight.
Yeah, 8 o'clock. So I reckon, hey, I'm the first one to be there, and I I walk in at 7:45, and I'm waiting. And at 8:45, no, sorry, it was 8:30. It was 8:30 my appointment, and I was there at 8:25. And at 8:45, the secretary, the receptionist of the doctor, walks in and looks at me and doesn't say sorry I'm late or the doctor is right around the corner or something. Just walks in and completely ignores me like I'm not there. So I go in just as she sits down and say my appointment was 8:30. Yeah, he will be here soon. So I go in at 8:58 or something. I said, "Well, the doc is the doctor here now?" And she says, "No, he will be here soon." And my remember my appointment's at 8:30. And I asked, "Well, it's almost 9. What does soon mean?" She said, "I don't know. Soon," she says. And at that point, I reached my limit and said it in a very nice way. And that's one thing you got to do in the Philippines. Even if you get irritated, don't be an asshole. I said it in a nice way, but in a way, she understood that I wasn't too happy. That I have no plans in sitting here for another 30 minutes, an hour, waiting for a doctor that might or might not show up. My appointment was at 8:30, not at 9, not at 9:30, not at 10. It's one thing if your appointment is at 2 and the doctor is delayed because he's seen a lot of patients and the patients has delayed, maybe they plan 10 minutes per patient and sometimes it goes over because of problems. That's one thing. But when you're the first person, you should be there on time. But there's a lot of time. What I'm trying to say, there's a lot of time wasting here in the Philippines, and it can get irritating at times, but you just have to accept it when you live here. Otherwise, you get just, yeah. But sometimes it just puts you over the limit, and you have to blow off some steam. So, one way or another, but not in front of Filipinos. Go home and scream in your room or something. Yeah. Wandering Duck says,
Video request for Paul. What do I do during my first 6 months in the Philippines to find a cute young hottie safely and effectively?
actually, I've made a video coming up on Wednesday. Oh no, tomorrow, Tuesday, it's gonna be showing up, and it's about dating here in the Philippines. Basically, it's really hard if you haven't been to the Philippines to understand the situation here when it comes to dating. I've tried to explain it on the videos, but it's just one of those things. If you haven't lived the life, it's hard to understand it. You can hear people talk about it, but you have to live here to understand it. And dating here is just so different than the Philippines. And finding a cute girl here is not a problem. Uh, I've seen guys that are 75, 80 years old with girls that are cuter than my girlfriend. And you can tell those girls genuinely like that guy because the way they hold their hands, the way they lean into them, and everything. So the problem is here you have to watch out for the pretenders, the scammers, the girls that are actually married and just trying to get money out of you. So there's a lot of red flags you have to watch for, and that's one of the things I cover in my upcoming video. So I think the best thing you can do is move here and just take it real slow. Start dating, start talking to girls, and take slow. Don't make any big decisions. Don't make a decision to move a girl in with you. If you date a girl, just see her once or twice a week. Date multiple girls if you want to. Don't take any important decisions. When you meet that first girl, you're gonna think, "Wow!" Your mind's gonna be blown, and she's so nice to you. She's cute. You think she's out of your league, and so on. So people tend to make the bad decisions that I'm gonna go with her for the rest of my life. But what you don't know, there's a much better girl for you, meaning the chemistry would be a lot better somewhere else. So just take it slow. That would be my biggest advice: is take it slow. Keeping real facts from public. Not sure what you mean by that. Ovid Roberts. Uh, test only with healthy group. Test only with healthy group. What does that mean? I don't know.
No
I'm
idea.
not sure what you mean by that, Ovid. Uh, Mamsa says it's more interesting to watch videos of somebody actually having something to speak about instead of just being half naked. Probably better to focus on quality over quantity.
Yes.
Yes, I completely agree, and I think if all you do is show yourself half naked or play on that, I think yes, you'll get a lot of subscribers to start with, but I think they'll drop off rather quickly, um,
Because the more
because
you do it,
the more you do it, that
it's kind of like, you know, it gets boring, you
yeah,
know?
it's the same over and over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you read this.
Scott says, "You're right, Paul, as today computer software running the RNA slash DNA, etc., and spitting out many probably vaccine results in days, not years. Polio vaccine, what? Is that right? Is that
Yeah,
14 days today?
you're saying that the vaccine for polio would take 14 days. I'm no expert in that area, so I don't know. I just know that there's been tremendous progress when it comes to that. So, but yeah, I agree with you in general. Vaccines are much, much faster to make today than they were, 10, 20 years ago, even.
The great Hank Aaron took the vaccine to prove the safety to the black community and died shortly after. Who is he?
I don't know. Okay, I haven't heard that again. But if you have a link for that, that'd be great. You can send it to me. I'd love to read about it.
Oh, radiologist.
Radiologist. Eh?
That's what I want.
That's what you want, radiologist.
Yeah,
I think there's a big demand for that. So
but I need to take.
there's a lot you want to do. First, you want to be a doctor. You want to be a nurse. You got to make up your mind. You're like me when I was your age. I could make up what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be an engineer. I just didn't know what type of engineer. So um, I believe the KTM 390 Adventure is produced in the Philippines, so no crazy import taxes. Unfortunately, won't be
On
on
the
the
used
used market
market
yet.
yet.
Yeah, I don't mind buying something new. The used prices are actually not that much better than, not that much cheaper, like in the States, than the new prices. So buying something new, a 400cc, the 650cc versus I think is $8,000 or $9,000. So it's really not that bad. Um, a 400cc would probably be 5 or 6 thousand, and if it's new, it's more reliable. You probably get ABS on there, and so I'm gonna look into that, see if, what that looks like. Thank you for the tip there, Win. I'm listening to you guys on my way.
Oh, Gangnam! I wanna go there.
It's like the song.
Gangnam.
It's like the song.
Yeah,
Isn't that?
it's a place.
It's a place. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't
in
there
Korea.
Gangnam Style? Wasn't
That's
that?
a song also.
That's a song, yeah. Gangnam Style. Is that based on the place then or something? I don't know. Paul, you're into psychology. I should email you something that you would enjoy very much. Yeah, please do. Please do. Ovid says, wife will get her citizenship this year. You, you can't wait to return there. Hope to meet someday. Sure, man. If I'm here, let's meet. I'm subscribed for. I never get to message you, lol. You message me anytime, man. Uh, your GF is not cute. She is beautiful. No offense to you. No offense taken, but
Thank you.
beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So the wonder. Doctors here in the USA do all the time. An appointment at AM means you might see the doctor by 9 or 10 a.m. Now that hasn't been my experience, the wonder. When I have had appointments with a doctor, like the first appointment or second appointment, it's usually been on time. It's only if it's been like later, where it gets delayed a few minutes, and then a few minutes add up for each appointment, and then you're delayed by 30 minutes. But they've had the courtesy to tell me and say, "Hey, we're running 30 minutes short. I mean, long." So Uh, Mia, don't forget about Paul when you become a big star.
No, I
Yeah.
won't. You'll always be.
You'll forget about me.
No.
Remember that song? Don't forget about me or something. I can't remember the song. It's from the 80s. Uh, that guy is right. Look up PCA numbers of cycles. Research this. Okay. Wandering dog. The manufacturers advise 25 PCA cycles. Western countries are using 35 to 40 knowingly increases the false positive rates. COVID tests are an amplified short segment of DNA. Yeah, I looked that up once. Somebody had mentioned something like that, and then I can't remember what I found. But of course, there's different data in different places. But I think it said that the PCA test, if I remember correctly, was 90% correct. So I don't know. Different people have different links and different data. I just, I guess I tend to trust the experts and the doctors more, as that is their area, and they all say the same thing, right? That we have to take precautions. But that's another thing, doctors and they are they have their area of expertise, while politicians have to balance things. They have to balance the economy. They have to balance the psychology of the people versus the health. And there is a balance. I think there is a balance. You can't lock everybody up. I read somewhere the amount of people that go hungry in the Philippines now is up to 30 or 35%. So there are consequences to all these shutdowns that some of them are not measurable, while people getting infected by COVID and people dying by COVID is measurable. So it's easier to point to that. But psychological issues with people staying at home, especially children, you know, I think there's a lot of issues that we don't quite understand yet because of these lockdowns. I'm not saying the lockdowns are wrong. I'm saying that one has to take a lot of things into perspective and not just have either or. It's not. I think there should be some more type of balance when it comes to lockdowns. When it comes to looking at the picture of the situation we're in today.
No.
Uh,
No.
Happy to answer any questions about radiology. Well, maybe me, I can email you. If you can shoot me an email with your email, I'll have her email any questions to you. COVID-19 is real. However, my opinion has always been that 65 and younger and healthy should not have their lives destroyed. You should be able to choose. Protect the old and obese. Yes, I think the lockdowns had its place in the beginning to flatten the curve. But then, like I was saying just a few seconds ago, one has to look at the total picture and the consequences of the lockdown versus the positives of the lockdown. So I do agree with you, but I think it has to be data driven, and but I think we're coming towards the end now with the vaccine, so it's really neither here or there. Things are going to start opening up. People are going to start getting vaccinated, and I believe by the end of this year, things will basically all be almost back to normal. That's my opinion, unless there's some type of new strain. But even at that point, I think people have just had it with the lockdowns, and I think it'll be hard for politicians to do any more lockdowns, because another thing that's going to start hitting is inflation, and we've seen it here in the Philippines. Inflation on food, when production goes down because of lockdowns and the demand is still there, what happens? Of course, you get inflation. Win says we do 2 COVID tests before the PT can leave the ER as negative. PT, what's the PT? Patient can leave the ER as negative. Then we do another test after 2 midnights on the third day if still admitted. Okay, so a lot of testing there. The PCA or PCR test also relies on how long the virus has been active in your body. Okay, so if you just got the virus, you probably would still show negative, because it depends on the amount of virus you have in your body and antibodies and all that, I'm guessing. So William says, nice to see you and Mia. Nice to see you, Mia and Paul. Another great blog from Massachusetts. Thank you, William. And good morning to you, or good evening for on your side. I'll let you talk a bit because I need coffee.
Gary says, when you get a chance, YouTube, urgent warning from US soldier, swine flu on RFID chip/vaccine. No?
Yeah, I've heard that too, but I don't believe in any of that stuff. Just knowing how GPS works and chips work, I don't, I don't put any faith into that. I'm gonna get the vaccine as soon as it's available here. Um, well, not as soon as, but when it's available. I'm gonna do my research first, obviously, and then get it. But okay.
I'm currently learning how to check for red flags from girls. Jordan.
Yeah, that's I talk on that on my next video, red flags, and there's a lot of good videos out there, and many of them can be for in general all women, and then there are some specifics for here in the Philippines, obviously, because of the culture, because of the way the country is. So thank you, Jordan. Thank you for the subscription to both me and Mia, I hope.
Jim Bruce, hi Paul and Mia. Are there no engineering companies in Cebu or Manila you could work part time? Then you could stay with Mia in the Philippines.
My area of engineering is very specialized, and even in the States, it's hard to find work. So, no is the answer, the short answer. There are engineering companies here, if you understand, but engineering is a very broad spectrum of both education and experience. So, you can't just think you're an engineer and can work anywhere. You have to have a certain type of education and a certain type of experience to work in a certain set of jobs within that area.
There.
Go ahead.
Did you guys get a vaccine?
No,
No.
not yet. Not avail here.
Oh no. Now we are moving to the conspiracy crap now. Sad.
Yeah, I don't really like the conspiracy. As you guys know, I always ask for link for data so I can read it myself. So yeah, let's not go there. That's a good comment, Scott.
I don't believe any RFID and 4G nonsense.
Yeah, neither do I really, because if you know how chips works, you know how GPS works, it just wouldn't work. And why would they do that? That's another thing I don't understand. Why would they do that? They don't need to. If they want to track, everybody has a cell phone today. They don't just track you on your cell phone, man. If they wanted to, and why would they want to track you anyway? So anyway, I don't understand the whole concept.
Are you important?
I'm not. I'm not important.
Scott says no chip in vaccines
Yeah,
and no gates
I'm
connection.
just gonna skip any of the chip stuff. I don't. I don't want to get into that discussion.
Okay. Uh,
Okay.
I was talking about Mia's first video on channel. I've been subscribed to you for almost a year
Okay.
now.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you. Almost a year.
Yeah. Just skip that. I don't want to hear any more about that. Let's just skip. I'm gonna skip the conspiracy theory stuff, guys.
Did you ever look into either what? What?
Yes, I did, and I did read about it. I don't recall what I read. Sorry about that. That was about a week ago. Yeah, I did read about it, but sorry, I just don't recall right now.
You both are very likable and make a great team. I would love to see both of you eventually traveling the world together and sharing the experiences. Yeah, we'd
Are you
love to.
feeling lucky, punk?
I am lucky. I am
You know that's
lucky.
from a movie, right?
I know that.
One of my favorite movies.
Hi from Sydney. Lockdowns here have been extreme. I think too much have paid a high price for so few cases and deaths, emotional and financial. Desperate to get back to or more for 60 days LDR. Oh,
So you've been over a year in a long distance relationship. Yeah, the lockdowns have been very hard on everybody, man. It's psychologically, it's just wearing. So, but like I said, it's going coming towards an end, and I truly believe by the third or fourth quarter, this place will be open, and people will be traveling. For there are multiple reasons for that. Besides the vaccine, there's also two more reasons that are very important. One reason is there's an election next year in March, right? Is it March next year? The election?
next year?
Yeah, 2022. Okay.
I don't know what.
There's an
What?
election here next year,
Oh, you're
uh,
talking about election.
here in the Philippines. So
Goodness.
there's pressure on the
I need
politicians
to do something.
because they they are there's pressure on the politicians because they obviously don't want there to be a bad economy, because what happens if there's an election and a bad economy, typically those in power get thrown out. So politicians are aware of that. The other thing that entails with that is that the economy is really tanking. So there is a lot of pressure to open up here. So with the vaccine, the economy tanking, and the election coming up next year, I really, really believe that they will be opening up at the end of this year, third or fourth quarter this year, basically, because of those factors, and because it'll be somewhat safe to open up at that point. So uh, Gary says, how about the Bible? It's in the Bible. Not sure what you mean by that, Gary. Studying and believing conspiracy is the biggest waste of time on earth. Yep, agreed. I don't uh, really subscribe to any type of uh, conspiracy theories. I like things that are data driven and not. I really don't believe in conspiracy theories because governments have a hard time keeping anything secret. So, yeah. Rosalind says, hello there. Happy Monday to both of you. Good morning, Rosalind. Ovid Robert says, yeah, let's skip the vaccine and conspiracy theories, guys. Could you please repeat the big news? Hi, Glenn. Good morning. It's basically Mia has started her.
Babe, it's not a big news.
It is a big news. Mia has started her own channel, and it's called, what's it called again, baby? Filipina Life with Mia. And so, yeah, that was the big news. And also the other news is that domestically, the Philippines is starting to open up for domestic travel. So that's also great news. That's on YouTube. Elsman says, I had a finance degree and worked as a project manager for a communications company. After a couple of years, I was hired internationally to an engineering position. It was easy. Oh, okay. What type of engineering? Um, that would be interesting. I'd like to know that. Um, yeah, if you would shoot me an email if there's any opportunities within your company or other companies. I'm a petroleum engineer, so I have a bachelor's and a master's in petroleum engineering. So if they're willing to hire a petroleum engineer and international, shoot me an email. Um, TC, sorry, just got here. Can foreigners travel to the Philippines now? No, but domestically, it is starting to open up. The news was that both Bohol, which is an island which is north of Negros, where I live, and Cebu, also an island north of where I live, is not requiring quarantine anymore to go to those islands. However, if I return back to Negros, there's still a quarantine required, but I believe that will change soon. Uh, Jordan says, Paul, I know you want to travel more around Asia, but what about Mexico, South America? I'm in Asia now, and I've only been to the Philippines, so there's a lot of more places I would want to see. And then another place I would love to go to in the near future would be back to Europe. I'd love to travel Spain, Portugal, Italy, Greece. Uh,
Rome.
yeah, well, Rome is in Italy, but yeah, I'd love to go to those places. I love the history of the Romans in Italy, and of course, there's a lot of Roman history in Spain. There's the Moor history in Spain. That's fantastic. There's some really great historical buildings, hundreds and thousands of years, not hundreds of thousands, but thousands of years old and hundreds of years old. And so there's just so much fantastic stuff in Europe that I'd love to go back and see. The thing is, when I lived there, I didn't really see that much of it. I saw somewhat of it, but not that much of it, because you always think, oh, I'll do that next year. I'll do that next year. But then you move and you never end up doing it. So I'd like to travel here and then go back to Europe and do a lot of more traveling if the opportunity presents itself. Yeah. Glenn says, great news. Thank you. You're welcome, Glenn. Scott says, I love how I can post the word marriage, and when it comes up the screen, a grin from Mia appears on the screen also. Sorry, Paul. Yeah, but have you noticed I just skip it? She knows exactly how I feel about marriage, so yeah. I don't hide that. I'm not going to lie or fib about that. I'm not. I'm against marriage for a reason. I'm not just against marriage because I don't believe that long-term relationships don't work. I believe long-term relationships can work, but there are certain reasons why I don't believe in marriage, and I cover those in some videos in depth, so I don't want to cover it here, but there are reasons. So I'm going to leave that at that point. But it doesn't mean I'll never get married. I might get married because the thing is, the state requires you to get married, right? If I'm going to take Mia with me touring to Europe, we would have to get married. But, maybe they'll change the rules for me. I don't know. Paul, do you have a link to Mia's YouTube channel here on your channel? I will put a link after we're done on the YouTube video. I can try to copy and paste it now. I don't know if that works or not, but I'll try that. Let's see. I'll put it on the comment here.
Yeah.
So I put it on the comment, so hopefully you guys can just click on it after the live cast or open it on a different tab. Have been to Molde in Norway, I'm assuming. Molde, have I been there? I don't think so. I can't remember being there. There's a place called Molde in Norway. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. So I'll be retiring to Ilo. Haven't been there, but maybe I'll be there one day. Like I said, I want to tour the Philippines and get more knowledge of the Philippines and see more of it. So movie recommendation, La Bella Verte, The Green Beautiful. Okay, thank you. There's one movie, Spanish movie, called The Labyrinth. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. I've not often moved to tears by a movie, but that movie was very moving, very good acting and storytelling, amazing. It's an old movie, over 10 years old, and worth seeing if you get a chance. Many good movies out there, but that's a good movie. I find actually more and more European movies, I tend to go towards more European movies and series. And the reason I say that, there seems to be better acting and more storytelling, while American movies seem to be more great effects. So, like American sci-fis, no one can beat those. But for the storytelling and all that, I think European movies are actually better now. I used to watch only American movies, but now it's more and more um, European. If I get a chance, if I hear of a good movie. Um, uh, Elsman says, "Sorry, Paul, I like you too much to recommend my employer. My company went through bankruptcy 3 times during my 22 years. I'm retired now, thank God." Okay, it doesn't seem like you enjoyed your job. Go ahead.
I okay. PCR testing was not meant to diagnose disease. That's from the inventor, Kari Mullis. Is that how you read it? So let's hope the nonsense of testing healthy people and putting them in quarantine for travel ends.
Okay.
Okay. I know why you're against it, and I can relate it also.
About marriage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that. How can I email you, baby?
You can go after the live cast. You can go to about section, and you can find the email there in the about section.
I'm your newest subscriber, Mia. Good luck with your channel. Thank you so much. You can visit anytime.
Okay.
How old are you? Okay. Yeah, yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Yep.
No more. Okay, guys. Looks like we've reached the end of the comments. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining, and please subscribe to Mia's channel. There will be a lot of videos coming, and there will be good content there. More and more good content. And she's a bit nervous, but she'll get over it. And she'll be doing some live casts. I might sit beside her in the beginning to help her out, but eventually it'll just be her. So yeah, we've been going for an hour, and it's usually a good time to cut it off. What's the best way for someone in Norway to send me money, especially if I want my details kept private as possible? Thanks, I'm in Australia. What's the best way for someone in Norway to send me money,
Oh,
especially if I want my details kept as private as possible? Thanks, I'm in Australia. I have no idea if you want to keep your details private. I don't know, but there is Remitly, there is Zoom, there is TransferWire. There's a lots of ways of doing transferring now. I think TransferWire and Remitly gives you actual rates. Zoom, I think, charges you less of a fee but gives you a worse rate. So if you're sending large sums of money, probably TransferWire is the way to go. That's what I use. I heard some people use Remitly, and they're very happy with that too. But I don't know about keeping your details private. I have no idea about that. Haven't been involved in that. My details aren't private, so I don't know. Somebody says Bitcoin here, so that's a good idea. Send you a Bitcoin. They're worth about what, $48,000? I looked this morning. I remember when they were 25 cents a Bitcoin. Oh God, I wish I'd bought 1,000 of them. I'd be so rich right now. God, I'd be giving away money to everybody. Uh, anyway, guys, thanks for joining the live cast, and I'll see you next week. And
thank you,
watch out
everyone.
for my video tomorrow, and watch out for Mia's live cast coming this week sometime.
What? No.
No, not this week.
No.
Just the interviews this week then. Okay. So just keep a track of Mia's um, um, channel here. Last but not least is Scott. Keep things below 5,000 at a time. Helps keep you under the radar. Yeah, that's a good idea. Also, you don't want to send too big a chunk of money because then you get on the um, IRS radar. Okay, guys. Thank you and goodbye. Enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you.